What is going on, everyone? Luca Rosano here, back with another video. Hope you're all doing well. It's been a while, but I am back. It's that time of year. The NBA playoffs are just around the corner, and I understand it is going to rev up with a lot of important matchups coming up for the Toronto Raptors. And I do want to announce that I will be back with a live stream on Thursday when the Raptors take on the Cavaliers. A lot of people have been asking me, Luca, how come you don't do live streams anymore? I've been busy this year, so trying to juggle a lot of things on the fly. I haven't been able to do all the games, but now I will be doing the important matchups that are coming up for the Raptors. The first being Thursday's game against the Cavaliers, which is a do or die when it comes to that all-important 6 seed. And it was actually that inspired today's video of mine, where I'm going to be taking a look at the best playoff scenario for the Toronto Raptors. Things are getting interesting. The regular season is winding down, and the Toronto Raptors, well, they're going to have to get to work if they want to claw themselves out of that 7 seed to get into the 6 seed, which would ensure them a full playoff series. You look at the Raptors, and they shot themselves in the foot. Very bad losses coming against teams like the Pistons, the Magic, the Lakers on Friday. That game was right there for the taking, and it was just stolen away. Then they beat the Philadelphia 76ers on Sunday. Impressive win, beating the Sixers with James Harden, with Joel Embiid, shutting that team down. Raptors looking like a team that nobody wants to see in the first round. Then they have a very bad performance against the Bulls, and that loss was actually a very bad one for the Raptors and a very good one for the Bulls, because that gives the Bulls the tiebreaker. So now for the Raptors to get past the 6 seed, it's going to be very difficult and make it that much more hard for them to accomplish that. So where do the Raptors stand right now? Well, there was this tweet that I found on Twitter that perfectly summarized what the Raptors need to do to get out of this dreaded 7 spot to get into the 6 seed. So the Raptors, if the Raptors go 8-2 in their last 10 games, they would need the Cavs to go 6-4 in their last 10, or the Bulls to go 5-6 in their last 11 to get out of the play-in, which seems unlikely, but it is still possible. And going back to that whole thing I said about the Raptors not taking care of business against teams they should have beat this season, which ultimately is going to be the reason why they could be in the play-in. Well, look at this stat right here. This is going to grind your gears, Raptors fans. Raptors 24-15. versus teams over 500 this season, 16-16 versus teams who are 500 and below. I have no words. It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. So let's look at where the Raptors stand right now. And before we get into the best playoff scenario, by the way, drop a like on the video. It helps the algorithm a ton. And please subscribe to the channel. Plus, turn on post notifications. YouTube's been weird. They haven't been sending out post noties. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get a notification every time I drop a video. We're first going to start with the worst playoff scenario for the Raptors before we get into the best. And let's start with the worst. So the worst playoff scenario for the Raptors is simply this. They don't get out of the play-in. They stay stuck in 7th. And they gotta play the Brooklyn Nets in the first round of the play-in. That's not something the Raptors want to see. That's not something I would want to see. I mean, the Brooklyn Nets, yeah, they might not have Ben Simmons. Kyrie might not be eligible to play, but they still have Kevin freaking Durant, and we know that guy can go off at any single time. That is not the team the Raptors do want to see in the play-in, especially in a winner-take-all game. I know the Raptors did beat the Nets the last 2 times, but it was without KD. You know the Nets, I don't know if they're doing it on purpose or if they're playing chess instead of checkers, but you know the Nets are going to be ready for that game, and maybe they want to be in this position of playing the Raptors and starting on the road, because that would mean that Kyrie Irving can play. So, yeah, it's crazy to see what's shaping up there, but the Raptors do not want to get in a battle against the Nets, and let's just say they lose that game, then all of a sudden, the Raptors would be down to their final lifeline as they would go up against the winner of the 9th, 10th place game, and that's looking like it's going to be either the Hawks or the Hornets. And the Raptors have actually fared well against both those teams. They're 2-1 against the Hawks this season, but the last game was a blowout loss. That one came in Atlanta. And they're also 2-1 against the Hornets this season, but again, the last game was a blowout loss, and that one was in Charlotte. So the Raptors' worst playoff scenario would be to face the Nets in the first round of the play-in, lose that game, and then be down to their final lifeline against a very capable Hawks or Hornets team, especially with the way the Hornets have been playing. They have been playing really, really well. So all I'll say to that is it's looking like that's the likeliest scenario, but that would not be a scenario the Raptors would want to see. As, there's a lot of good competition in this play-in tournament on both sides. It's crazy how much parity there is in the East with how much competition and how good these teams are. So that, to me, is the worst playoff scenario for the Raptors, is if they can't get into that 6th spot, which is still a possibility with that matchup against the Cavs coming up, and there's still some games left to make up ground, but if they can't get into that 6th spot, staying where they're at now or even falling to the 8th spot would not be ideal for the Toronto Raptors. Okay, now let's get into the best playoff scenario for the Toronto Raptors, but before we do, I quickly want to announce that today's video sponsor is none other than Manscaped, a longtime supporter of this channel. Go on over to manscaped.com, use my promo code Luca3, and you will get 20% off plus free shipping on any one of Manscaped's products. It's as simple as that. Our friends at Manscaped, they have presented the new Ultra Premium Collection. This all-in-one hygiene, skin, and hair bundle is designed to upgrade the everyday man's shower routine from head to toe. Your skin, hair, and balls deserve this. And they are also introducing their Lawnmower 4.0 electric trimmer. If you want to clean any unwanted body hair, the Lawnmower 4.0 is waterproof, so you better believe it's a major key to that new shower routine. This new bundle will change your life, and I want all of you out there to live your best life. So again, get 20% off plus free shipping with promo code LUCA3 at manscaped.com. It's time to get wet and clean with your new Manscaped shower routine. Proud sponsor of this channel. Purchase a Manscaped product. It helps me. It helps you. It's a win-win situation. Speaking of situations, let's get into the best situation now for the Toronto Raptors when it comes to the postseason. So the best situation for the Raptors is to get out of the play-in tournament and surpass the Cleveland Cavaliers, those pesky Cavs, for that 6th spot. The Raptors want to get number 6 in the East. It's going to be harder to get number 5, especially since the Bulls beat them. They have the head-to-head, but the Raptors can still get number 6 in the East. As you look at the top 5 teams in the Eastern Conference right now, I can confidently say I would not be afraid of any of those 5 teams the Raptors could go up against, because you know there's going to be a lot more shuffling with how close things are at the top of the East in this last part of the season. But I think the Raptors would not be afraid of any one of those teams except the Boston Celtics, and rightfully so. The Boston Celtics have been dominating teams. They look like a team that could very well make a run, and it pains me to say that because I don't want to see the Celtics succeed, but damn, man, their team looks really good right now. That's the one team I would not want to see out of those top 5 teams in the East if I'm the Toronto Raptors. As far as the other 4 teams, let's break it down. Yes, the Chicago Bulls are 3-1 against the Raptors this season, but the Bulls have shown their vulnerabilities. The Raptors were missing Gary Trent Jr., OG Anunoby in that last matchup against the Bulls, and Fred VanVleet was not at 100%. The Bulls, outside of DeRozan, don't have a lot of playoff experience. That is a team that a lot of people want to see in the playoffs, and I think the Raptors are one of them. Now let's talk about the other 3. The Miami Heat. That's a team that could also be vulnerable. I mean, they're a number 1 seed. They've overcome a lot of adversity. I have high hopes for the Heat. I think they can make a deep run. But the Raptors are 2-1 against Miami. And you look at the Heat, they've had a couple of suspect losses this season, and that is a team that the Raptors have shown that they can go toe-to-toe, blow for blow with Miami. I mean, just take that 3 overtime classic game, for example. And then these are the 2 teams that I personally would welcome in a playoff series, a 7-game series against the Toronto Raptors. The Milwaukee Bucks being one of them. Raptors 5-0 against the Bucks in their last 5, 3-0 this season. I don't know if it's a psyche thing, but the Raptors have proven that they can slow down Giannis and the Bucks. They can get it done, especially on the road in Milwaukee. So that's a series that the Bucks would not want to see. And then the most ideal matchup, if you will, the best playoff scenario for the Toronto Raptors, in my opinion, is going up against the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, a lot of you might be thinking, Luke, are you kidding me? The 76ers? They just got James Harden. They have Joel Embiid. Who the hell is going to stop Embiid inside? The Raptors have shown to have the Sixers number. Not only are the Raptors 2-1 against the 76ers this season, but they're 1-0 against the new look 76ers. And this is a 76ers team that for whatever reason, they're still having flashbacks of Kawhi hitting that 4-bounce buzzer beater to knock them out of the playoffs. But this team comes up small against the Raptors, particularly Joel Embiid. Embiid had 21 points and 13 rebounds for Philadelphia on Sunday, but he shot only 6 of 20 overall from the field and missed all of his three-point attempts. And James Harden had 17 points, but on 5 of 12 shooting from the field. The Raptors outscored the 76ers on Sunday 30-17 in the second quarter to erase a 16-point deficit. And they took a 57-54 lead into the locker room at the half. And then the Sixers got very little out of their offensive punch of Embiid and Harden. Embiid missed 8 of his final 12 shots, and the two combined for just 16 points in that second half. That was without Fred VanVleet and OG Anunoby. The Raptors did that on the road against Philly. And another big reason why I would be confident against the 76ers is that series would start on the road. If the Raptors are a 6 seed, their first round playoff series would come on the road, and that would go well for the Raptors because the Raptors thrive on the road. They're 23-16 on the road this season. This is a team that wouldn't mind starting a playoff series away from Scotiabank Arena. I still believe the Raptors are a team that nobody wants to see in the first round of the playoffs. Some teams more than others. I think the Raptors wouldn't want to see the Nets or the Celtics, but outside of those two teams, you put the Raptors up against any other team in this Eastern Conference, and they will be able to hold their own. Their defense has proven to be so good in limiting the other players' biggest threats, and their offense, it just hangs around, man. Siakam's been playing out of his mind. You look at the other contributions they've gotten from this team. A guy like Precious, I know he's coming off of a not so good game, but on Sunday he was fantastic. If this team can get healthy going into the playoffs, they are going to be a tough out in a full 7-game series. So the Raptors got to end this season out strong, because if they don't get into that top 6 and they do end up in the play-in, I just have this weird feeling that they might not be able to get out of the play-in. So they got to do whatever it takes to get into the playoffs, not have their fate decided by the play-in, overtake the Cavaliers, and at least get a full 7-game series over one of those teams I just mentioned. And hopefully it's not Boston. Any other team outside of Boston and the Nets, I feel confident about the Raptors' chances going toe-to-toe with that other team. So that Thursday game, man, that Thursday game is going to be so important. And like I said, I'm going to be live streaming it. You definitely don't want to miss it. Raptors got to win that game. If the Raptors don't win that game, it's looking very likely they're going to end in the play-in. And as I just said, that's not where the Raptors want to be, given the strength of those play-in teams. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be a fantastic finish to the season. Man, oh man, are we going to get our money's worth watching these Raptors games, because every game is going to be so important. As the race is on, the postseason race is on, we will see what happens, but let me know who you would want to see the Raptors go up against in a playoff series. Do you think the Raptors will get out of the play-in and into the playoff picture? Leave your comments down below. I read all of them. And again, please drop a like on the video. It helps the algorithm a ton. Please subscribe to the channel for more Raptors content just like this. Plus, turn on post notifications so you always stay notified anytime I drop a video. This is Luca Rosano on the mic signing off. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all again in the next video.